Shalom, Gabe Greenberg here, Rabbi of Congregation Beth Israel in New Orleans, coming to you this afternoon, not from the banks of the Mississippi River as usual, but rather from the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. As you can see behind me beautifully, people sailing, fishing, and just hanging out as we do. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Chukat, we learn of a very interesting ritual. In Judaism, we have a notion of tum'ah. Tum'ah means spiritual impurity. This sort of impurity can come to a person in a variety of ways. And in this week, we learn about the spiritual impurity that is imparted through contact with death and dead bodies in particular. How does one remove this type of impurity once it has adhered to them? Well, the process is quite fascinating. Some of you have heard of the red heifer, a totally red cow. And this week's Parsha, we see that when such a cow is found, it can be slaughtered and burned, and its ashes can then be sprinkled upon the people. The priest, the Kohen, who does this act of sprinkling the ashes onto the people to remove them of tumah, of spiritual impurity, through the very act of his sprinkling, he himself becomes spiritually impure. It's really quite a paradox that the act of cleansing others makes this person, in a sense, dirty. And that's the only way that this can happen. We know that in life, many times, if we really want to make change, if we want to make things better, we've got to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. We got to get in there, in the dirt, in the mud ourselves. That's where change happens. The mystics have a term for this in Judaism, which is Yerida Litzorech Aliyah, going down in order to ultimately elevate. Some of you, I know, remember the great words of the thinker and rapper Coolio, who said, "You gotta get up to get down." Well, Judaism disagrees and says, you gotta get down to get up. Yerida Litzorech Aliyah. So hopefully this next week can be a week for us of rolling up our sleeves, getting down, getting dirty in order to bring the very needed change that this world craves and that you can offer. Shabbat Shalom from the shore of Lake Pontchartrain.
Gotta get up to get down. What up, everybody? So glad you're here.